You're listening to Careers and Cocktails, Career Talk with a Twist, hosted by expert recruiter Renee Frey. Let's get this party started.
Hey, party people. Welcome back to Careers and Cocktails. I am so thrilled today to have Karen Astromsky on. This lady is like a health and wellness guru, and she's going to tell you more about herself. But I want to share how we met. So I was working at Target Corporation, and I had just gotten back from maternity leave. This was 2013, and I had joined Weight Watchers on site at work. And so I would go every single Wednesday, and I'd go to this conference room where Karen was the group leader, and I would learn all the nutrition. I would weigh in. We learned tips and tricks. We shared struggles, and I was able to get to my goal weight because of her. Yes. And I have to bring up, okay, so there's a couple points I need to make here. One, the power of networking and maintaining your relationships. Karen and I were connected on LinkedIn and Facebook, and then now she's on the podcast. So how fun is that, maintaining those relationships? And there are some things that she instilled that I learned from those meetings that I still keep in my back pocket today. So some key principles that I learned from Karen are always order a small size when you're going out to eat. Like if it's Dairy Queen Blizzard, Starbucks, Mocha, Frappuccino. And I instill that with my daughters as well. So only a small. And then constantly meal plan your weeks, because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And don't deprive yourself of what you enjoy. Do you remember all those?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing all of that. Okay, I mean, oh my gosh, this takes me back.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the Karen elevator pitch.
The Karen elevator pitch. Well, I have been working for Weight Watchers. Now it's called WW Wellness That Works, for like almost 18 years now. But and it started out because I had my daughters, and my second daughter was born with cancer, and I had a big career in politics in Washington, D.C. and in university administration at 2 Big Ten universities. And after my second daughter was born, I couldn't go back to doing what I did before, which was bossing people around, making decisions, all this kind of, I know you're probably like, yeah, you do it pretty well anyway, right? But anyway, I could not go back to doing it. So I had a semi-recovering sick child, and I had a spouse at the time who was traveling a lot. And so I ended up working with Weight Watchers. I never knew anything about loving public speaking or loving coaching or any of that stuff. And that's kind of what brought me to it. But in the years, my point of view, same things about good health, wellness, et cetera, but my message has evolved more into mindset work. And what are you thinking about what you're doing? What are you thinking? And using, I became a yoga, Qigong meditation instructor along the way as well. And so things have changed, like everybody. I hope you're changing. Like, I hope you're changing for the better.
Absolutely.
For the best.
Well, because if you're not growing, you die.
If you're not growing, nothing's happening. And, and so anyway, that's kind of how it evolved. So like, if you saw me today in workshops for WW, you'd be like, yeah, I kind of heard this message. We could hear so much more mindset. Like, what do you think? I love it. Because if you're thinking crazy, you're doing crazy.
Right. Which you wrote a book that I read. It's a super short read, great principles in here. It's very straightforward, no BS. I have to call out, I love meditation. So meditation changed my life. So I totally adhere to that principle that you wrote about in the book. 3 years ago, I want to say, I was at a seminar, and this gal was a Harvard MBA, and we had to go around the room and share one of our productivity hacks. Well, I shared a recruiting productivity hack, and this gal gets up and she's like Harvard MBA and shares meditation. And I'm like, okay, she knows something I don't know if she went to Harvard MBA, got her MBA from Harvard. So I pulled her aside after and I was like, hey, can you share more about this? Like, what is it? How do you recommend I get started? Because I'm all about being the best that I can be, most efficient Renee ever. But yet I had a really hard time sitting still. Anyway, fast forward now. So I meditate 10 minutes a day. I use an app called Headspace. I absolutely love it. I need the guided Andy, the monk, telling me, like, helping me. But now I live in the moment. I don't have 300,000 racing thoughts in my head. I hold the door for people when I'm going into a building versus I'd be the fastest one to get there and it would slam behind me. And literally it's changed my life, my relationships, my perspective, everything.
Mhm.
So, and then I want to talk about the Qigong, which was a new concept.
Qigong, yes.
Qigong,
Yes,
which I
Qigong.
pulled out of your book. So
Yeah. So
let's talk about, Karen.
okay, I know. So Qigong, I just was at a 2-day, all-day Zoom on that stuff this past weekend and all of this. So Qigong, Qi is energy, QI, Qi. So the American spelling is CHI, otherwise Qi, Chinese spelling. Qi is energy. Energy is all around. The energy of the mind is intention. I want what I want. Okay, the energy of the body is doing what the mind says to do. The energy of the heart comes forward. I want more for myself. That fulfillment center. So Amazon has the idea that they're the fulfillment center of the world. No, it isn't. It's the heart. Okay, the heart is your fulfillment center. So I want what I want. I put it in my mind and then I do it with my body. And so the Chinese call that your 3 treasures. And they call it the path to happiness from within comes from balancing these treasures. So to just say, like we talked about weight loss a little bit, to just say, well, the body, I'll just eat the right thing. I'll just do that. That will lose the weight. Well, if your mind is in crazy town and your heart is like, I don't really care if I'm overweight or not, then you can't force yourself to eat the right thing and lose weight because it won't happen because the mind and the heart are off alignment, out of alignment with the body. So Qigong is a mind-body practice, not dissimilar to yoga. Yoga came first in India, Qigong, China. You've heard of Tai Chi?
Mm-hmm. I've done it.
It's the martial arts version of Qigong. So the kind of Qigong I teach is the medical version, and so it's more free-flowing, and I have a lot of it on my YouTube channel, and it's just, you could do it in a chair, you could do it if you have MS, you could do it if you're in a hospital bed, and so it's super accessible for everyone, forever, and there's a meditative aspect to it. You have to use your mind. So anyway, I'm super enthusiastic about that. I
love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done your YouTube video on Qigong so I could see what it was about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good.
So Karen, what are we drinking today? We always have a drink. So
right. So because it's the weekday, we're drinking black coffee. And so that's what it is. Mine happens to be Godiva hazelnut flavor. So it's very nice.
Mine is Nespresso. I'm addicted to Nespresso because it's got the foam on the top.
Yes.
That's actually another thing that I didn't. One of the tips that you shared was black coffee. I used to always put cream and sugar in my coffee. And because of, what is it called now? WW?
WW, just wellness that works. Yeah.
Okay, so
people call it Weight Watchers forever.
Okay. So because of WW, I started drinking black coffee to get rid of those extra calories. So that's another thing that you taught me.
Excellent. Cheers.
Karen, what can we help celebrate for you this week?
So you know what? I'm going to tell you a very personal story.
We love personal stories.
This is a very, very personal story. And so, so the deal is, you know, I'm sure you've heard this a lot in your business as well, imposter syndrome, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've heard about okay. So the first time I heard it, I'm like, I'm not pretending I'm an astronaut when I'm not. I'm not going to the hospital and pretending I'm going to do surgery and I don't know how to do surgery. And it's like, what is with this imposter syndrome everywhere? And I think we know the feeling, even if you don't know the term.
Yep.
And so I've talked a lot about this, and I'm recording a YouTube video about it right now about imposter syndrome. And I would like to flatter myself and think that I don't have that problem. And my message, so I take my own advice. So my message to my people I coach and everywhere is that imposter syndrome is when you don't fully show up the way you wish you did or the way you wish you could, because you feel that you don't measure up, you're not equal to the moment, other people are better than you are, you're a fake. And so you might say, well, I'm not going to apply for that job because other people are smarter than I am. I'm not going to speak up in a meeting because other people's ideas are better than mine. I'm not going to go on that date because then somebody will notice that, maybe I'm bigger than I was before COVID, and then they'll not like, all this stuff.
Yep.
So I think this actually gets in our way a lot more than we realize, even if you don't have a name for it. Michelle Pfeiffer and Maya Angelou felt imposter syndrome, among a lot of other people. What am I doing on the stage?
People.
Right, exactly. So obviously it's super common, right? We do this. And so I am working with a company called the Speaker Lab. Maybe you've heard of them, and they just, train people to be public speakers. It's, modules and watching and videos and
you need training on public speaking.
Okay, it's really all about the business. The public speaking is this much of it, and the rest of it is business.
Got it. Oh, okay, I was going to say, because I did the Toastmasters thing because I used to be petrified of public speaking. And now I've been paid to speak in front of thousands because it all started with Toastmasters.
Okay, right. So I don't have to go to Toastmasters because I'm 100% confident in my public speaking. It's just finding your audience, getting in front of them, okay. And of course, as you know, you spoke about this earlier, relationships.
Yes.
It's all built on relationships. And it isn't like, oh, Karen, you're such a great speaker, and we'd love to have you do an inspirational talk about XYZ. Yet, no, those people don't come to you at the beginning of your trying to do this. They will eventually, but they don't at the beginning. So anyway, I'm working with the Speaker Lab and all this, and we get down to like finding people that you want to speak in front of, and your ideal client avatar, all this stuff, all the same stuff. And I just had this very F you attitude. If you don't want me, I don't care. Okay. And so I'm like trying to figure out all kinds of ways that I can hire somebody to do all this for me, to do all the outreach, all the research. You figure out all the places, you send all the emails I tell you, you do this, you marketing virtual assistant, take care of this, because I don't want to deal with any of it. But keep in mind, this is about building relationships.
Right.
Are you with me?
I'm following you.
Okay. So the guy at the Speaker Lab says to me, I don't know what this thing is about, but you're really not getting down to what the heart of the matter is here. And when people say no to you, it means no, not right now. It means no because we can't pay you, or no because we can't even have you, or no, it doesn't mean no, I don't like Karen because you are at the heart of yourself a bad person. Okay. But I have this enormous fear of rejection. So yes, you're looking at me going, what? Here's this super confident person who comes out in front of people and does all their stuff. So it took me 8 years to write my book. So that was 7 years thinking about it and going, other people have said what I've said. Other people do what I do. Other people have talked about this. And I had to get out of my own way and say, but nobody talks about it the way I talk about it. Okay. So finally I did that with my book, but I didn't do it with my speaking. And then I have another coach I'm working with because as I build my 6-figure business, yes, you heard those words, right? It's the 6-figure business coaching. And this coach said to me, no joke, the next day, have you read the 4 Agreements? Have you, she's like, what is going on here? Like, because again, it's a lot of outreach. It's a lot of asking people to subscribe to your channel, follow me on Facebook, do all this stuff. And I'm just like, if you don't like me, F you. So, okay, honestly, this is
going to turn people off.
So, right, exactly. But this is me protecting myself. And finally, she said the same exact thing that this guy said. He goes, mm-mm. So honest truth, here's the story. When I was growing up, my mother said to me one time, if people knew what you were really like, they wouldn't like you.
Oh my gosh, that breaks my heart.
So
I'm following you.
So here as an adult, my brain, so think about the 3 treasures. My brain goes, that's not right as an adult. But as a kid, what do you think? You internalize it, you take it to heart.
Believe it, because
you believe it.
Your subconscious mind takes everything in as truth until what, age 7 or 8?
And so then you hold that in. And so like me saying, if you don't want me, F you, is just protecting that wound, I'll just move on. And so now I'm 55 years old and I have to face down this message in my heart, not in my mind, because in my mind, I know it's not right, but that's not good enough. I have to like, compost that experience. And if I said to my mother, did you say this? Do you remember when you said this? I don't even remember when she said it. She would say, no. She would say, I never said that. She would say, even if I did say that, I must have been having a bad day. I'm one of 5 kids in 7 years, like almost all of her days.
Bless her soul.
Okay. So anyway, so my thing is about this, it's like, okay, so here I am at 55, and now this whole ancient, I'm going to call it, wound is getting in my way. Because I am in a position in my career now where I am building a business. Like you said, I'm building a business. When you left Target, I'm building a business. That's what I'm doing. And in both parts of my business, it's all about it's not, I don't want to call it rejection. It's about enormous not now. And I have to like set myself up for it and not feel like F you, because that's not really what it is. It's okay, move on, not now. Next opportunity for no, next opportunity. So that's my story about how, we have to wrestle with our demons, otherwise they'll keep coming back. And then how does this prevent you from, like, this is making me an imposter. I'm not showing up the way I want to show up. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
That's okay. Cheers to that.
So cheers to that. So I am celebrating doing the hard work, the heavy lifting, which is here, of just like, I got to let go of that. I've got to just, realize and make peace with that, because I'm going to face this. And I do face this every single day in my business.
That is incredible. So I've had moments like that. I'll stem back to my childhood. So, I got so many, but we want to focus on you, but congratulations for digging deep and figuring that out. So how now, Karen, are you working through to get through that?
So one of the things is, so people, that's the very first question everybody asks. So now what are you going to do? Because intellectually I know. So your heart is your emotions, right? So I have to go back and visualize the little Karen with glasses since I was in kindergarten and think, wow, what was it like for her to hear those words? So I'm envisioning myself as a little kid, because I don't even remember when it was. I don't remember how old I was. I don't remember what house we were. I don't remember any of it. I just remember the words. And I have to go back to that and think of how sad that must have made me. And to hear those words and how there was nobody I could talk to about it. Right. I have siblings, so like I can say to one of them today, oh my God, do you remember when mom said da da da? And they'd be like, oh yeah, you should hear what she said to me. So like I'm not thinking I'm making it up, but I have to really kind of do the grieving for that little girl who heard those words and imagine what I wish happened differently.
Right.
Like I would so wish that, and my mother was not this kind of person, would have come up to me and said, I didn't mean that. I said the wrong thing. I'm so depressed, angry, upset, whatever. Like, I wish that could have happened. I wish somebody would have come along and hugged me and said, oh, no. That's so not true. So I have to go back to the little girl and just give her a squeeze and say, that never should have happened, but it did. Yep. But here I am at 55, because that little girl is still hurt. And that's where that FU comes from. If you don't like me, I don't care. It's like, well, actually, I kind of do care.
Yep.
So I think that's how we do that work. That's how we process it. I know some people journaling about it, like, what was it? Because again, I can't picture the scene. I can't picture the circumstance. I can't even picture the age. Was I 8? Was I 12? Was I, but I didn't make this one up. Let's put it that way.
That's crazy that affected you for 55 years and you're just uncovering it today, which means it's never too late to analyze and figure out, but it does take a lot of inner thought and perspective and work. Because I've had multiple things from my upbringing. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was deaf. My mom left my dad. They never wanted us to share what was going on behind the scenes. So I had this pretty facade, which leads to future Renee. But I've done a lot of the work, and I always think about the untruths that were told to me, and it's reworking it to the truths that I want to believe. So yeah, I commend you for that, Karen.
Well, you know, it's I did a series on these Facebook Lives that I did. I talked about this theme of you are always enough, which is the inverse of the imposter syndrome.
Right.
It's like you are enough, you always were, you always will be, you are equal to the moment. So this is a truth I really believe. So everybody's like, when did you hear that message growing up? You are enough. No, as women we hear you're too much.
That's what I heard. You're too
you
loud.
Talk too much. You talk too much. You take up too much space. You know, all this kind of stuff. And so it's like, gosh, what would life be like if we heard that message? You are enough. You always were. You always will be. You're equal to the moment. Some moments look better than others. So the moment for you in COVID world might look very different than the moment that you like in post-COVID world. Let's hope it does. Okay. You know, the moment when you're sick with the flu looks very different than the moment when you're on vacation in Hawaii.
Right.
But you are equal to the moment. And this is a meditative thing. I can't be anything other than where I'm at right now.
Right.
I can't be yesterday. I can't be tomorrow. I can't be someone like this is me now. And now is where power lives. Power doesn't live in the past and it doesn't live in the future. Power lives in now. And so it's like when I talked to you know the people I coach, et cetera, about this theme of you are enough, it's like that's the antidote to I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. Other people are smarter than I am. They deserve to be here more than I do. And I kind of realized when I finally got going with writing my book, was like, there are people who put out books that are stupid.
Oh.
I mean, there are people, and it's like, what's the difference between me and them? They did the work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only difference. They did the work.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, then just do the work.
Right.
But again, this is getting in my own way and stuff like that. So
wow. I love you are equal to the moment.
You are equal to the moment, always.
And the power is in the now.
Always.
So, Karen, do you think more men or women have this imposter syndrome? Is it gender?
No, I think it's women, and it probably has its roots in, and I'll come back and talk on your show about patriarchy stress disorder.
Ooh.
Patriarchy stress disorder. So it's like how we have been led to believe, women, that this is how it is. So, you know, I won't speak up. So a little imposter syndrome, but a little, we're trained, guys speak up and they say whatever they want, nobody cares. They don't spend time, should I share? Should I not share? They just do, right?
Where I buck the trend because I've been told I've been too masculine or you're too direct. And I'm like,
that's patriarchy stress disorder. That's patriarchy stress disorder right there.
Yep.
That's what that is. Because who's deciding this?
Yeah.
Who's saying this? Right?
Yep.
And then women then can come along and they can do the same thing. They can apply this patriarchy stress disorder, even though you think, well, they won't do it. Well, you know, everything's political, right? No, they do. You know, then they're like, well, these are the rules and this is what it is. So, you know, the message now is supposed to be more of like, you're you. You can't be anybody other than you. If you are someone other than who you really are, that's the imposter syndrome coming out again. I'm a fake.
Right.
And so, no. So this patriarchy stress disorder, women can't say what they think. They take up too much room. They talk too much. Who was the guy in the Olympics who was kicked out because he said that we can't have this other woman in Japan, Japanese man married to a woman with daughters, who said, we can't have this other woman on the committee because she talks too much. He was fired from the committee. His wife and his daughters went to town on him, but that's patriarchy. We're going to have a bunch of guys, you know, typically white guys, tell you what it should be like.
Yeah, I don't sign up for any of that.
No,
I've always been who I've been, and it hasn't been easy though. I mean,
yes, right.
But that's okay because no one will walk in my shoes and I have to go to bed at night. So
and you're the mother of girls. And so like if you were a guy, let's change places. If you did everything that you have done, but you were a guy, nobody would say a word. You don't talk too much. You're not too abrupt. You're not reaching for too much success. You're not trying to be, nobody would say a word.
Right.
So, so that's how you know. If you made yourself a guy, would people say this to me? If the answer is no, I'm going to go with.
Yep. Well, and the funny thing is, Karen, is I was in a business meeting with a new client, and the president of the company said, "Oh, you're not confident at all, are you?" And I said, "I'm very confident because we have the capabilities to fill your roles." And they chose me to do business with them because I am who I am. But I get comments all that, like in the past, I've gotten some crazy comments.
And if you were a guy walking in, would anybody say anything?
Mm-mm.
They wouldn't say a word.
Right.
It would just be like, well, yep, I'm here to slay, and this is what I do, and I'm going to have it happen and all that. And so, we could talk for days about this, of how this is just really, I should dress this way. I should look this way. This is the standard. This is whatever, and how it plays out in our lives. Because I think just like with imposter syndrome, et cetera, these things are very subtle.
They are.
Like you wouldn't think, like what I shared with you, this honest story about how I was faced with my demons by two different coaches that I had paid to help me develop my business. And I am going up against the same brick wall. And it's like, okay, there's something here. Obviously there is. And it takes some work to get past it, because otherwise my business won't thrive.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right?
That goes back to, so when you have a lid on yourself personally, like this imposter syndrome, then it puts a lid right on your business too. You've got to deal with it personally so that it can lift the lid off your business as well.
Right. And this is a Qigong principle. The universe is abundant.
Mm-hmm.
The universe is abundant, but if you put out a do not enter sign, it's not abundant.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And so, I do think guys have these things. I think they just don't deal with them. And I think they get away with not dealing with them because it's guy code, it's bro stuff.
Sure.
I mean, I don't speak for all women or all guys. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
They can get away with it. But, the universe is ready for more female energy. The universe is ready for bridge builders and negotiators and moms who have to cut once and share twice. And the universe is ready for a different kind of energy, because this is where we got to.
Yeah.
And it's not working out anymore.
Right. Okay, Karen, we're going on the party bus.
Yes.
You can invite anybody, but they have to be alive. Who's coming with us?
Yeah. I was going to call him David Rose, but it's Dan Levy from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, I
was going to call him David. I would like both. I would like David Rose and Dan Levy to come.
Perfect.
So I would just like that kind of energy, and that I like face making. Whenever my mom sees me on any of my stuff, she's like, "Stop making faces." I'm like, making faces was one of the best things I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So wearing a mask is like, you can't see the faces, but this is what I look like.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So definitely him. Definitely.
I was Moira for Halloween, and my husband was the husband, and it was, we got wigs and we didn't see any, but no, we did have trick-or-treaters, but we didn't go anywhere else except home, but it was super fun.
Well, whenever, I wear almost all black all the time. And so like I fought with it. And was like, you look so good in colors. And I'm like, no, I'm wearing Moira Rose today. That's it.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Mm-hmm. So if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
So I think I wrote that down. Did I write down my superpower would be to be able to accomplish all of my social media marketing?
Oh my God.
Maybe everybody wishes this would be a superpower. I have ESP, so that's like my superpower that I already own. So that works great for me. But I wish I could just like.
Oh, and it's always changing. It's enough to drive you batty.
So that's why I'm hiring out for this, because I don't have this power, and it's, this is part of just building my business. These were words you spoke years ago. I'm building my business. I'm building my business. And, and I say, I'm building my 6-figure business.
I love it. You got specific. Now you got to throw a date on the end of that. By a certain date.
Yeah, 2022, it will be there. We're going to go from 3 figures to 4 to 5 to 6. Yes.
Perfect. So you mentioned politics in DC. How the hell did you end up there, Karen?
So, I always wanted to live in DC. I wanted to go to Georgetown for my undergrad in their School of Languages and Linguistics. And I got on the waiting list. I didn't get it. And so after college, I had worked for a year at the Federal Reserve Bank here in Minnesota, and it was just awful. And I was like, you know what? I'm going. That was back in the day. Okay, remember, I'm 55. So this is back in like 1988, where not everybody knew how to type or keyboard, as we say. And on an old fashioned, I don't even know if you use this, a selector typewriter, maybe never.
Oh yeah, no, I did. When we actually had a actual old school typewriter growing up, my sister used it, but yeah, I remember.
So I could type 100 words a minute on that typewriter.
Oh, that's
so it's probably
fast.
like, right, that's fast. I was really, really fast at this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to DC. I was hating my job at the Federal Reserve Bank. I went and visited a friend of mine out there. I wore her clothes, carried her briefcase, got myself some interviews, and got a job with a senator from Minnesota. Got a better job than the one I applied for, and got them to pay me before I started working.
Awesome.
I mean, I was just like balls to the walls, just make this happen. And so I was there, worked for two different senators, and it was a great time. I lived on Capitol Hill, walked a block to work every day.
Oh, I love so
yeah,
much.
That's kind of what happened. And I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any contacts. I didn't have all that. It just happened. I was in the right place. I wanted what I wanted so badly that I was willing to get a job with some temp agency to type at a law firm or something while I figured it out. But fortunately, I figured it out before that.
Awesome. Yeah. In the book, Think and Grow Rich, they call that a burning desire, and people have burning desires, always fulfill them because your thoughts are in that direction. Your actions are in that direction. So kudos to you for that. So now how did you come into, wellness, and how did you get to?
Yeah. So after I left DC, I got married and I worked at University of Iowa at the School of Art and Art History. I was the administrator there because the spouse his job changed there. Then his job changed to Minnesota. And then I worked at the law school at the U. And then that's when my second daughter was born, and was born with a heart defect and then got cancer right after that. And so after she had left the hospital, I couldn't go back to doing what I had done before, which was bossing and making decisions. And, I've seen death, it has a color. So I could not do it. And then I just ended up losing weight with Weight Watchers. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll do a job here. And I couldn't do much of any kind of job because I had PTSD at the time. I was suffering, when you take home a sick child from Children's Hospital, you're in it for a long time. You're not ever not in it. It's big. And so it kind of happened by accident. And then it was all this weight loss stuff. But then I got to the point where it's like, okay, if you know what to do, why aren't you doing it? Because it's just like, just do that with your body. Just do that with the food, and then it will come. Well, not if my heart is broken, or not if my head is messed up. So we have a lot of members, and I've met them, of like, they've gained 100 and lost 100. I'm like, okay, clearly there's more to the story than this. I'll give you 10 or 15 pounds for I like French fries too much. That's it, 10 or 15. But I will not give you 100 up, 100 down, this and this and this. There's more to the story. And that's when we don't deal with the whole package. So the heart, the mind, you called it the burning desire. That's hard. When you have this burning desire and your mind is smart and it goes there, your body goes there, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
But if your heart isn't in it, it shows, right? If you talk to people who are like, I don't care, well, then get out of my way, right? Or people who are in crazy town in their head. I call it crazy town, not mental illness crazy town. That's not what I mean. But just like, I'm just thinking crazy thoughts. Somehow magically it will happen because I want it. No. Your body has to work so hard on this. Your mind has to be in the game, and your heart has to be open to it. So like my heart, what we talked about earlier, was not open to this. My heart was like being protected. Like, you're not going to reject me. And if you do, F you.
Yep.
It's not about rejection. It's about building relationships. I think they say, you must know this in your business, 7 times you got to ping before somebody buys. Like 7 pings. This could be 8 months of free content you got. Mm-hmm. And then they finally ping. So, that's just the way it is now.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I was always much more interested in the mindset aspect, the backdoor approach. So if you're thinking straight and you process those experiences that got us messed up in the first place, then you can do straight most of the time, mostly right most of the time.
Yeah.
But if you're not thinking straight, if your mindset is like, I know I should lose weight, but I'm not, well, then you're not.
Well, and do you find that the people that, okay, say this example, you said 100 pounds overweight, lost it. I feel like if you don't deal with your mindset, it's just going to come back.
Absolutely, it comes back. And if you can gain and lose 100, we're talking about big issues. We're talking about something huge. We're talking about, big wounds.
Right.
That, because we're just flipping switches. We're just going on and off. And
Right.
those are the polar opposites. But really, most of life is in the middle,
Mhm.
right? You can visit one extreme or the other, but you can't live there. You can't live
Right.
on the North Pole or the South Pole.
Right.
You
Well,
have
and
to-
the crazy thing is I had a friend who was, what do you call it? Sexually violated.
Yes. Yeah.
And then she gained a bunch of weight because she didn't want to look
Yes.
attractive to men because
Totally.
she was scared. And
Yes.
she used food as a tool for that. And until she could figure out that, work through all of that, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that's some deep wounds there.
And have I met those members? Yes. Because it's like, wait a second, you did this to me. And so if I put enough distance, physical distance between you and me, you can't do it. Okay. And I certainly want to feel better about this. But as we know, in our culture, probably all cultures, people are not good about dealing with this.
Right.
Okay. So that's for sure, for sure. And so then where do you go? What do you have available to you? If you're a kid, you've got food. If you're older, you might have drugs or drinks. But kids have food. I had a member one time, and I think he was gay, and I don't think he realized this. And he said that when he came home from school, he was bullied at school all the time. He came home, mom and dad are at work. So what do? I've been bullied all day long. There's nobody to talk to. There's nobody to share with. There's nobody to tell me that they're wrong and, all this. And so he ate. He just ate and ate and ate. And so he has this huge problem besides this identity thing that I think is going on. And it's like, well, food is your drug of choice. Food is what you're using to mask the problem, but it eventually bubbles up, right? It's like a time capsule thrown into the future. It's gonna go off. And it will go off when it's no longer okay for it to stay hidden.
Right.
Or like or like in my situation with my career, it's going off right now. It's like you cannot hide from this anymore.
Right.
You cannot stay in the comfort zone. You have to get out of it. So,
yep. Karen, how has your gut instinct and intuition helped you along the way in your career?
So if it feels right, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I trust my gut instinct, and we should all trust it. I think we're trained not to. In the Eastern philosophies, it's all there. You trust your gut instinct, you trust your intuition, you trust your third eye, you work to open that intuition center up. So I always trust it. And I used to do a lot of interviewing. It's like, no, whatever I can tell, no. Even if I couldn't put a finger on it, it was like, it's not happening right here.
So what are some tips that our listeners can do to trust their instincts or, gut more?
Mm-hmm. So one is your instincts, your gut doesn't have to make sense in your mind. Okay, so like sometimes we're just using our mind to make a decision. Like let's say you have somebody you're interviewing in your world and you're like, okay, so they tick all the boxes. Yes, they can do this. Yes, they've proven they can solve problems. Yes. But something tells me this isn't right. Mm-hmm. I have to go with my gut instinct that something isn't right because something is telling me something. That's your body talking to you. And we have to, your body is always in the present. The power is in now. So people can be really good actors at convincing you about something. But if you're getting a different message from them, how are you? I'm fine. Well, you're not fine. You can say it, but you're not. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really the way the gut is. But we're trained to think with our heads only and not think with, it's called the heart mind in Eastern philosophy, the heart mind. or the body mind. My body is telling me this isn't right. My daughter was going to visit, I'm divorced and happily, and my daughter was going to visit her dad. Every time she goes to visit him, she gets sick.
Oh my gosh.
Every single time. So you have to say, I said, Natalie, why don't you just say it in words you don't want to go? Do you get what I mean? So, I mean, it's like, this is your body's talking for you. This is your gut instinct telling you. And we to train yourself, I mean, meditation is one way of doing it, of just slowing down to be in the present moment and saying, I can trust my instincts. You can also go back and say, when did I not trust my instincts and I got myself into really big trouble because something about it said to me, my body went into heart racing or shivering or something that said, this isn't right. Like dating, for example. Something doesn't feel quite right about this. Trust your instinct.
Yeah.
Don't just go in your head. It ticks the boxes.
Yeah. Trust your instincts. I love it.
Don't question it. And don't ask your mind to make sense of it. It doesn't have to.
Right. I've had those feelings where one time we had someone drop into the office and they needed help filling positions. And my gut, I got the weirdest feeling. And I was like, no, can't. And they wouldn't leave me alone, Karen. They not only had their HR director call me, they stopped by again. And I was like, unfortunately, we can't do business. Like, I was like, run for the hills. That's the feeling I got. And I stuck true to it.
And so again, it's like, okay, we haven't even started, we don't have a contract and I feel like I want to run for the hills. Okay. So what do you think it's going to be like when this person is in your life, right? For real.
Yeah.
And it's like, what does this tell you? Something is not right here. Something is. And so, they say everything is energy. It's vibrating all around us. Light is energy, sound is energy, etc. And most of the world and our bodies, etc., is what's called formless. There's the form, tick the boxes. And then there's the formless, the intuition that tells me you don't tick the box of you're an okay person.
Yep.
And it's not judging. We're not judging. We're not deciding that they're bad people. We're not deciding that they're robbers. We're saying, this isn't right. I can't put a finger on it and I don't have to. I'm going to trust my instinct.
Yep. I love how you described it as this is the body is the form and then the formless energy. It reminds me of radio waves. We can't see
exactly,
but there's energy piped into every single room. You could tune in the radio right now if you wanted to KDWB and it would be on your phone.
Right. And we trust that, right? We trust that our phone is making connections with or the radio or whatever. It's like, so we have to trust those radio waves that are connecting from that person to us. Like, this is messed up.
Yeah.
I cannot go here.
Exactly. Yeah. So trust your instincts, people.
Don't ask questions.
Yep.
Don't ask questions. Don't try to justify it. Just say something makes me feel like I'm going to run for the hills. When you just stop and say those words, you're like, whoa, whatever it is, it's not good. And that's enough information.
Exactly. So Karen, why are you so passionate about helping people with their wellness anyway?
Mm-hmm. So I'm really passionate about it because I really think it stands in the way of people living the life that they want to live. So I don't like to say live your best life because that means that when we're living, like when I lived with my daughter in the hospital with cancer, I wouldn't say that, is that my best life? That was my life. I don't know. So I don't like the word live your best life. I like the idea of be equal to the moment. Be equal to the moment, whatever the moment is. And I'm really passionate about it because I think people, one, don't give themselves permission to do it. Two, I think people including me, got a lot of messages that F the whole thing up in their head.
Oh, yes. Agreed.
I don't deserve it. Other people are more deserving. I'm not good enough. And all the imposter syndrome stuff. I should be satisfied with what I've got. At least he doesn't drink.
Oh, that makes my breath stop.
Okay, I know. My first fiance was an alcoholic, so I know a lot about this one. But it's like, I think there's more that we can ask for than just that. Okay, so things like that. And so we do have these, me included, have these limiting beliefs that just keep us from having the life that we would prefer to be evolving into. I'm going to call it evolving. We're never done. The day you die, you are not done. There is going to be work on the table. There's going to be thoughts to be thought. There's going to be heart vibrations to extend to the world. There's going to be, well, yep, I still wish that never happened to me, but it did. So what am I going to do? Like, I wish I never got married. Well, I did. What can I do about it now? Right? I mean, that's not going to change. So I think people, and I'm hoping, but I don't know, that this pandemic will have helped people. This was supposed to be a time to gaze inward, go inward. You can't go out, go in. Well, you have to be kind of evolved to go inward and look at what you got. Do I like those people anymore? Do I like those things anymore? Do I want to go back to hustle culture? Well, you get to choose. And so I feel like people need permission. I think they need a lot of mentoring and coaching. That's what I do. I go with you side by side. This is different than therapy. Coaching is very different. It's like, okay, let's go where we want to go here. Let's set some goals. Let's do this. Yes, do the work. You got to do the work, but it's like, we need a lot more of that coaching. When we were kids, we had parents. When we're adults, you got nobody. And your spouse and your girlfriend are not it. They're your cheerleaders and they love you, and they will always love you no matter what size you are, whether you work out with them or not. That will be the same. We need to pay people for this kind of advice and mentoring, and come with me side by side. Come with me and help me get through my divorce, because this is so hard. And I just need somebody to tell me like it is. Or my girlfriends don't want to hear the story anymore. I need you to help me with this.
Yeah.
And I think we need this, and we don't do it. And when we're kids, our decisions hopefully aren't like that consequential. As adults, your decisions are very consequential.
Mm-hmm.
And we have nobody. You have just yourself and your spouse, but again, or your girlfriends, but they're not always the best people. They can be, but not always necessarily the best people to hold you accountable.
Right.
And we are, and I think the other thing about COVID is we're responsible for our health and wellness. I mean, everybody talks about wellness. The gas station talks about wellness. I mean, wellness is not a new concept. This has been going on forever, but for us in the West to own it, that is a new concept. You are responsible. You are not just going to go to the doctor and get a pill. You need to start eating better and sleeping better and drinking more water and meditating. Like if you said meditation, like a few years ago, people were like, oh, that's just for weird people who don't shave their armpits, who want to go to India. It's like, no, it's for everybody, but okay. Right. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It has evolved into, I can do things with my mind, my heart, my body in the present moment to make myself feel better, be more relaxed. And the weird thing is, it's ironic. The more I spend on doing nothing, the more productive I can become.
Isn't it amazing?
So the more I train my brain to not keep leaping, we have 70,000 thoughts a day. Most of the thoughts you have today, you had yesterday. That's a shame, right? That's a shame.
It's a rerun, damn it.
It's a rerun, especially if you're thinking crazy thoughts, right? Like this isn't good, it shouldn't happen, whatever. So it's a big deal. So I'm really glad, hopefully, that we've come to this point where it's like, I've got to do things to help myself. I've got to spend time in nature. I've got to take breaks periodically throughout the day. I've got to restore the way I charge my battery. I've got to charge this battery.
Yeah.
And I think we're coming around to it. I mean, when the gas station talks about wellness, okay,
right?
It's like everybody.
Right, exactly. Karen, where do you get your inspiration from?
So, I believe in God. I get my instant. He's the worst boss there is. As much as I said I don't want to do what I'm doing, he's like, nope, that's your job. You're doing it. So I get my inspiration from my faith. I get my inspiration from seeing other people who are doing it, who are quality people. Because you can do the work and not be a quality person. I get it from my Qigong master, Lee Holden in Santa Cruz. I got to tell you something. Clubhouse has been an eye-opener for me. Are you on Clubhouse? Do you do any stuff? Okay, so it's just audio only.
Oh.
Audio only. I'll send you an invite. I think it still might be invitation only. And it's all live. So you're not looking at pictures, but people are you need to be on Clubhouse for your business. But anyway, and I have seen so many incredible women that I would never know about if it weren't for that. So I'm like, wow, this is really good. So I'm getting inspired by all these great women all over the place doing all these great things.
Cool.
With their careers, with their business, with evolving, because that's what we do as women. I think they said Instagram might be coming up with one of these. So it's an audio only, live, never recorded. And these are conversations about everything: business, Instagram, YouTube, pop culture, Black women in business, hustle culture, meditative moments. It's all these different things. So I like hearing about this more and more. And hearing about really impressive people who are doing it. Look at you. I remember when you left Target, and I remember the circumstances. Okay. Yeah. And you're like, I'm building my business. These were I'm busy building my business.
Yeah.
Own it. I mean, that was what it was. I mean, and now it's this.
Yeah.
This is my business. So that really impresses me. And I also like shutting down this patriarchy of just, we did it your way all this time, and look where it got us. Right. So that doesn't mean every woman is great. That doesn't mean every man is bad. It just is like, we did it your way. Now it got us nowhere. And right. So now we have to quit that.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely embedded in the culture for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people will stand up like me and say, well, this is who I am. I just happen to be a woman.
Well, again, my response to that is, if I were a guy, would you say this to me? Right. And if the answer is no, that nobody ever would walk into a room where a guy was saying, well, we're going to do this and this and this for you and this, and they would go, okay. Nobody would ever say, well, you're confident, aren't you? Well, I'm a salesperson. If I'm not confident in my product, what am I doing here?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, my confidence is based in results.
Yep.
Thank you for nothing.
Exactly. Well, Karen, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
being on. I love all the value bombs you dropped. Tell me, where can people find you?
So, people can subscribe to my website at www.karenastromsky.com. My YouTube channel right now has just yoga and Qigong, but I'm building a channel as soon as I hire my marketing virtual assistant. And so I'll be producing new content every week. And then it's going to be on there with a yoga Qigong meditation to go with it. Cool. So when I'm talking about imposter syndrome, I'm going to be talking about the heart. And we're going to be doing heart opening exercises.
What is your YouTube channel called?
It's just Karen Astromsky right now. So you just have to
you want to spell your last name?
Mm-hmm. Astromsky. So yes, so I have somehow amassed 107 or 8 followers organically. If I could just figure out SEO, So it's coming. It's coming. It's coming in a very organic way.
You will. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right, forever. And my book is on Amazon, and I'm going to be recording my audio version of it. So it's just ebook or the paperback. So
awesome. Well, it was so good to see you.
Oh, so great to see you too, Renee. You are fabulous.
Oh,
I love it.
Thank you.
Your daughters are so lucky to have such a powerful mom. I love it.
Thank you. And for all of our listeners, if you need help with your job search, career coaching, your resume, your LinkedIn, whatever it may be, jump to payraiseandpromotion.com and all my resources will be there for you. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
Please be sure to subscribe to Careers and Cocktails on YouTube and drop us a review on your favorite podcast app. If you're looking to update your resume or you're stuck in your career, I'm designated by LinkedIn as the top resume writer and career coach expert. I even created a resume and e-learning course to help you if you want to do your own resume. It's super simple and extremely affordable. Go to careersandcocktails.com to learn more. I am here to share information and help people love what they do. Until next time, cheers.